Hello and welcome into the late night edition of Into the Knicks-Verse from Los Angeles. The New York Knicks came to LA to play the Lakers, and they lost a lot tonight. They lost a lot. Potentially, it could be very damaging for the season. Let's have our fingers crossed that that's not the worst. Isn't the worst case scenario. The New York Knicks, let's get to this here. Knicks lost 113-109, but that really isn't the story here. The story tonight is Jalen Brunson rolling his ankle in overtime. In overtime that was basically unnecessary. But the Knicks went incredibly cold, and they went away from what was working. They went to ISO ball, basically just give the ball to Brunson in crunch time, and he does deliver. But the problem is, the Lakers know that, so they made it really difficult for him to get his shots off. And in the end, the whole offense just seized up. The Knicks could not make a three-pointer at all, and got to the point where actually it was only Josh Hart who made a three-pointer. Late in the game, in the fourth quarter, including the fourth quarter and overtime, the New York Knicks went 1 for 8 from the three-point line, while the Lakers went 7 of 13, and boom, there went their lead. And it's I feel sick about the loss, but I feel even worse about the potentially losing Jalen Brunson for an extended period of time. That is possibly what could have happened. I only have one highlight to show you, and unfortunately, it's that one. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, and drop your comments, even if you're watching this later on. I look at all the comments. I appreciate them all. This is a difficult time right now. We don't have any information. I know he's being checked out, but man, he could barely move at the free throw line after he shot his free throws. He stayed in the game, and he made both free throws. He tied the game. It was at 107-107. He made both free throws, but when Lakers inbounded the ball, he could not even move. He stayed at the free throw line, and Mitch fouled LeBron to stop the clock because they had a foul to give, and he just limped off. He was able to limp off by himself, so that is the one super positive. That is a very positive sign. He did it, but he did not look good. Did not look good, and you know that in overtime with the game in the balance, that he would have stayed in the game if it wasn't a very painful ankle roll. And it was a weird one. It was the tip of the sneaker rolled. He landed on Austin Reeves' foot, and he rolled it forward. But it wasn't. He didn't put a lot of pressure on it, so it just could be a sprained ankle, like a hyperextended. Nothing major, no ligament damage. Let's hope it's just manageable. That would be the best case scenario at this point, but he's definitely not playing against the Clippers tomorrow. That's for sure. Or if you're watching this on Friday, he's not playing Friday night. That is for sure. It would be completely irresponsible to put him out there. Though we know if it was up to Thibs completely, we know what he would probably do. Thibs, I thought he was coaching a very good game for most of this game, and then he just froze up in that fourth quarter. He put Josh Hart back in the game, and man, he did hit a key three-pointer from the corner, but he passed up on several shots. He tried to drive to the hoop. He couldn't finish. He was just a mess out there offensively, and the Lakers knew it, and they basically baited him into it, and that's what happened at that point. Man, let me just show you this here so you can see what I'm talking about with these Knicks. The Knicks, they once led by 13 points in this game. Here it is. This is the fourth quarter, beginning at the 7:07 mark, which is when Brunson entered the game. Brunson and Brunson entered the game then, and who else? I can't remember who else entered the game at that point. But from that point to the end of overtime, the New York Knicks shot 1 of 8 from the three-point line, 12.5%. They lost those 12 minutes by 12 points in LA. And the most excruciating part was what happened really close to the very end of the fourth quarter. They had several opportunities, and they could not capitalize on them. And it was beyond belief in my mind. Like, I do not understand. Josh Hart, he gets the ball because they double-team Brunson out beyond the three-point line. He gets the ball to Josh Hart, and Josh Hart starts driving. He had less than a second. He had about a second. And he thought he could drive all the way to the hoop to make this bucket. He should have driven, stopped at the free throw line, popped, and shot. Or put up a floater. Something might happen. You might get lucky. You might get fouled. Anything could happen. If you release it ahead of time, maybe the ball bounces on the rim and maybe Towns can tip it in. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? But to try to take it all the way to the hoop as the shot clock drains out, even though he made the bucket, it didn't count. And then we go to overtime. Now remember, there were many mistakes that were made late in this game. The Lakers shot 5 of 9 in that fourth quarter. In those last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, they shot 5 of 9. And it was Gabe Vincent who comes into this game and hits 3 huge three-pointers. There was a huge one from the corner that I do not understand why he was left wide open in that corner. The corner three is the easiest shot to make. It's the easiest shot to make. And they left him wide open. He drained it. He buried another one above the break on the right side. I can't remember where the third one came from. But that was it. And I was very clear as I was tweeting. I was like, hey, man, you know what? If the Knicks can because they're playing good defense, they're communicating well, they're recovering well, there's a tremendous intensity, they're sticking with their guys. They were forcing the Lakers into a poor shooting night until the fourth quarter. Now, did they run out of gas? But why? Why do they have to run out of gas? I don't understand. I do know why. The minutes. The fucking minutes. But whatever. So they run out of gas. They go freezing cold, and then they move away from the motion offense and the sharing the ball offense, and basically it just ends up with just Brunson with the ball in his hands, and let's see what he can do. Well, he did a lot. He did a lot on his own, but look at this he did in the game. He shot 30. He scored 39 points. But in that fourth quarter, that in the last 7 minutes of the fourth quarter, when he came in, he was 2 of 6. 2 of 6. He missed both three-pointers, and he was taking them from the left above the break. His sweet spot is the right side above the break. Why weren't plays called for him to be able to get open there? Why also don't we get wide open threes looks like that? The Lakers are getting wide open 3 looks in the fourth quarter in crunch time. We can't get a single wide open look. We're like suffocating that 3-point line. Step back a couple fucking feet or something. Give yourself some space. Don't understand the approach of this team offensively late in the game. I do understand. It's just give Brunson the ball, but that doesn't work, man. In 4 quarters and plus in overtime, the Knicks only got 20 assists tonight. That is pathetic. That is pathetic. But nothing is more crucial than this right here.
Brunson gets up and limps to the bench, but forgive me. I have to look away. I can't do ankle injuries. Goodness.
That's one of the worst you could have when it rolls that way, the forward.
Another angle.
You hate to see it. Brunson gets up and limps to the bench, but
no floater. No floater for Josh Hart. No floater for Josh Hart ends up in this situation. Unnecessary minutes here. But you know what? To focus just on that Josh Hart thing is oh, okay. We should focus on it, because why was he even in the game at that point? Why? I know. Deuce didn't score shit. Deuce was like 0 for 8 or something tonight. I know, but they have to respect his shot. One of the reasons he was 0 for 8 is because he's getting contested. They have to respect this. They don't respect Josh Hart's shot. So what does Josh Hart is? He drives into the teeth of the defense without the awareness that you can't make it all the way without the shot clock running out on you. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. The season. I hate to be doom and gloom here, but let's say I'm not even going to go there. Let's say, I mean, it's just an ankle sprain, and they give it treatment, and he's back in 2 or 3 weeks. Let's say he's back in 3 weeks. Let's just hope for that. Well, in 3 weeks, the Knicks could lose a lot of games. We don't have a legitimate point guard that can step into his shoes. We have Deuce, who can definitely do a very good job, but he can't provide the scoring punch consistently that Brunson does and that this offense is based on, because Mikal Bridges is still MIA. I don't know where he is. Though he made some great defensive plays and some good stops at times, but offensively, it's a big zero. It's a big absolute, like nothing offensively. In fact, I think offensively, see here, what do you end up giving us for the game? 6 points. 6 points. Your starting 2 guard, who played 43 minutes, 6 points. He took 6 shots. He gave you 6 points. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me. Lex the Destroyer, best mod around. Thank you so much, brother. Forcing Brunson to do it all by himself. That's basically what happened. I mean, we had Karl Anthony Towns was back. Karl Anthony Towns, what happened to you, bro? You 3 of 13. You should be destroying this team. They don't have anybody on the floor who can handle you. 3 of 13 for Karl Anthony Towns in 42 minutes of play. 1 of 6 from the three-point line. And I wish he had kept shooting more threes. There was a 3 opportunity late in the game. Actually, I can't even remember if it was overtime or late in crunch time. Anyway, the game was hanging in a balance. The lead was dwindling away, and Karl gets the ball above the right break. He could have just fucking let the ball fly. Instead, he drives. Nothing. Wasted drive right there. Man, I'm really bummed. I'm really bummed because this season, I don't know about you guys, but this season has been incredible in a lot of ways, and incredibly wonderful and incredibly frustrating in a lot of ways. It's like we're getting teased, you know? We make this big trade for Karl Anthony Towns, give up Dante and Randall, and I'm still happy with the trade, no doubt. I'm very happy with the trade, but you know, we couldn't have gotten him without giving up Dante. That's a big bummer. Because that is the guy that we need now, that we have been needing, that we've been needing all along, is somebody like him. Now, Deuce, like I said before, got off to a great start in the beginning of the season, and he was giving us some of that. But he's faded offensively. He is not the same guy offensively that he has been was earlier in the season. Not even close, honestly. He is shooting right now in the last 10 games. What is he shooting? Something very... Actually, he's like about 36% or something. Last 10 games. Last 10 games, actually, he's shooting 38%. But in overall, that's from the three-point line. Overall, he's shooting only 41%. That's dismal. That's dismal. And that's in the last 10 games. How about the last 5 games? Let's see. In the last 5 games, Deuce is shooting down to 31%. That's atrocious. But Josh Hart is shooting. Wow, look at this. Let's go back to this. This is the last 5 games. Deuce, just under 26% from the three-point line. I mean, Mikal Bridges, just under 26%. Three-point line. Deuce, 31%. Josh Hart, 12.5% from the three-point line. Brunson, even Brunson himself, hasn't been shooting well in the last 5 games from the three-point line. 34%. Only OG and Towns, and actually Shamet have. Now, where was Shamet in that fourth quarter? I would love to have seen him stay in the game. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him there. Oh, man. Thibs really dropped the ball with his offense in that crunch time. Putting it all on Brunson to carry us through was a tremendous mistake. Tremendous mistake. If you look at it this way, look at this. So this is what happened. This is how the Knicks closed the game. They lost by 8. In the last 7 minutes of this game, they lost by 8. But if you look at, let's see here, the entire fourth quarter, the fourth quarter up until that moment, there we go. It was even. So with Hart, Towns, Bridges, Deuce, and Campaign on the court, and a little bit of OG, about a minute of OG, the Knicks were able to stay even with them in that fourth quarter in those first almost 5 minutes. Okay, almost 5 minutes. They were able to stay even. But they weren't making any buckets. But their defense was holding them up to some extent. Look what the Lakers were shooting in those 5 minutes. They were shooting 20%. 20%. The minute that the lineup got switched and Deuce came out, and Payne, hate to say it, and Payne came out, and we switched for Brunson, this whole thing turned in a very bad way. Very, very bad way. Let's see over here. 707. Boom. Lakers shot 53, almost 54%. 55% from the three-point line. 5 of 9. That's the game right there. That was the game right there. Jalen Brunson, before leaving with apparent ankle injury, 39 points and 10 assists. Now we needed those kind of heroics because the rest of the guys weren't making any buckets. You know, I mean, Mikal Bridges, nothing. Josh Hart, he did hit the 1 3-pointer late in the game before in regulation, which was huge, but then shot away from continuing to try and provide any offense. I tweeted this out right at the end of the third quarter. I could see the way the trends were going. Knicks lead Lakers 84-76. So they're up 8 with 3 quarters. After 3 quarters, their defensive effort and communication and execution has leveled up this game over previous games from what I had seen. If New York can hit their threes in the fourth quarter, they will even the season series. And I couldn't have been more prophetic, because that is where they ended up losing this game. They couldn't hit their threes because they weren't moving the ball and breaking down the defense, getting into the teeth of the defense, and getting the ball out. There were times where Karl-Anthony Towns was open on the wing. Brunson didn't get him the ball. You know, feed your big cat. He's hungry. You know, he wants to deliver for you. Don't do it all by yourself. Now, the one time that Brunson did spray the ball out to a corner, it was to Josh Hart, and that was the one fucking bucket he hit in that fourth quarter. Sharing is caring, as Clyde says. If guys don't touch the ball and get to shoot the ball, it's not going to happen for them. Now, there was one time when OG definitely did have two big opportunities. I think that was in overtime. He did have two opportunities in overtime. That was a shame. He had two opportunities in a row for a three-point shot. One that he usually makes. He shorted both of them. Both of them shorted. Man. All right, show you these stats here. Bridges, look at that. 43 minutes, 6 points. Anunoby, he actually he really gave us a big boost offensively. He was trying to will this game, to pull this game off after we had given up the lead, especially in that overtime period. He only finished with 2 points, but man, did he give it a go. And he got a couple of rebounds. He played some really good defense. Shot 7 of 18, 4 of 11 from the three-point line. Got 20 points in his 44 minutes. Towns, a paltry 12 points on 13 shot attempts. Only 1 of 6 from the three-point line. But again, I think if he had gotten 2 or 3 more attempts in the last 12 minutes of actual play, from the 7-minute mark in that fourth quarter all the way, who knows, if he gets the ball late, in that regulation, he drains one of those threes. The guy is one of the best three-point shooters in the game. He's still averaging over 43% or something. Give him a ball. He can shoot over anybody. He might even get fouled. That was the other thing. The foul calling here was atrocious. The refs, they missed many calls, and there was one huge mistake. And it's a bummer to say, because the Knicks have been the best team in terms of winning challenges in the NBA all season, but they made a major mistake of challenging a call out in the open floor where Deuce had fouled Dalton Connect. It was kind of on a fast break. From the side angle, the main angle, it was kind of hard to see the foul. However, is that the moment you want to go for that? Because we could have used a couple of challenge calls late in the game. Late in the game, they could have used a couple of challenge calls. It would have been good to have been able to challenge some calls, is what I was saying, late in the game. That could have gone Knicks' way. Would have gone Knicks' way. There were a couple of fouls late that they would call on the Knicks that should not have been called, that were not fouls. Remember a particular one by Cat and one by OG that was late. Could have turned the tide completely. And then there was a 3-point opportunity that Dalton Connect hit at the end of the third quarter, right at the buzzer. 3-point shot. Terrible. Terrible. Now, he took it. It was like a 28-footer, 29-footer or something like that. And they, the guy was right up on him. He hit a lucky bucket. But come on. Like, you can't even give anybody a look like that. Just suffocate him completely, especially a guy like that. He's going to throw a heave, and he's a really good three-point shooter. He's a rookie, but he's a good three-point shooter. Here we have Josh Hart did provide 18 points overall, but none in overtime. He played all 5 minutes overtime, none in overtime. 2 of 6 from the three-point line. Did get 10 rebounds. Mitch Robinson only played 13 minutes, 6 points for him. Payne, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. He's gone ice cold from the three-point line. And Deuce has gone ice cold as well, 0 for 4. Shamet is the only one hitting threes from the bench. 1 of 2 for him, but he only played 6 minutes. You can see the Knicks shot 23% from three-point line and under 40% overall for the game, but only 20 assists. Look at that, 20 assists. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Let's go back to this. Look at this right here. Lakers only had 25, but Knicks only had 20 assists. That is total statistical representation of the lack of, there was ball movement for large portions of the game, but then they drifted away from it. It's like they got tired of it or something. And they got out-rebounded in this game, 49-46, but it was pretty even. It's not too bad. They took care of the ball generally, but man, there was like a play late. I think it was in the fourth quarter. I can't remember. The fourth quarter in overtime, I was just like in a total panic the whole time watching it. But there was a moment Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah. Now I'm remembering it. Oh, the pain of it. The pain of it. Oh. So the Lakers are coming down with the ball. I believe the score is tied. I believe the score is no. The Knicks are up by 3. Knicks are up by 3, and they get a good stop. The ball lands in Katz's hands, and Josh Hart pokes it out. He pokes it out, and it ends up in Jackson Hayes' hands, and Jackson Hayes throws it to the corner to Gabe Vincent, who drains one of those 3 3-pointers late in the fourth quarter. And that was a destroyer. You work 24 seconds to get to force the team into a bad possession, a bad shot attempt, and which they did, and then they get the ball, the rebound, and your own player pokes it out of your hands. Situational awareness. Situational awareness. Man, that is crazy. That is crazy. Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry, right here. All right. There's a cat crying outside here. Okay, look at the points in the paint. Pretty even, 42-44, but Knicks lost that. Knicks did win the second chance points. Those were the hustle points. That's why we were sticking around in this game, because we weren't shooting that well. The fast break points was pretty even, 17-18. The three-point shooting disparity, we shot 10% less in field goal percentage from the three-point line than the Lakers, so that was incredibly costly. And the free throw line was incredibly painful. The Knicks missed. How many free throws did we miss? Here we go. Hold on. Heidi! Okay. Here we go. See the plus minus. OG a minus 13. Mikal Bridges a minus 12. Towns a minus 1. Brunson minus 8. Josh Hart a minus 6. The entire starting unit was minus. The entire bench unit was in the plus column. Wow. That's interesting right there. The Knicks did struggle offensively during those minutes when Brunson was off the floor in that fourth quarter, but the defense was showing up to keep the Knicks in the game. To keep the Knicks ahead. Let's put it that way. I got something wrong. Okay, so here the Lakers stat line here. So Dorian Finney-Smith, 2 points, just 4 less than Bridges. 31 points for the miracle of just health. LeBron James, unbelievable that at 40 years old he's able to do that. 11 of 23, 2 of 8. One of those 2 3-pointers that he made was a huge one at the top of the arc. Late in regulation during that fourth quarter when they got hot. I'm sure JJ was telling him, you know what? You get an open look, shoot that 3. Shoot that 3. That's how we're going to win this game. You think Thibs is telling his team that? No, I don't. Luka Doncic, 9 of 23 overall. Terrible shooting night, but he did hit 4 of 12 from the three-point line. Again, not good. 32 points, but he hit big buckets in that. It was regulation, actually. He had a big three-pointer over Karl-Anthony Towns, and then he took Towns one-on-one, and he buried a 2-pointer to give them a 5-point lead in that overtime, which they were able to hold on to a certain extent. But the Knicks did tie in overtime, 107-107. So, their bench outscored the Knicks bench, which is the problem. But also the biggest problem is how they scored it. Look at Gabe Vincent and Connect's numbers right there. They basically made just 3-pointers. They shot 7 of 11 from the 3-point line. Those 2 guys combined. And that is the difference in the game. That is the difference in the game. Here's the team stats. This is not going late. I'm not going that long because it's late for you guys. It's late for me, even. Right here, the main thing that I wanted to point out here, other than the 20 assists, the paltry 20 assists, again, the Knicks are losing the points conceded off turnovers battle. We're just not getting back. When we make a turnover, guys are getting easy buckets on the other end, and that's a huge problem. That was it. That's pretty much all I want to show there. So Knicks play the Clippers Friday night in less than 24 hours. Can they regroup without their captain and pull off that win? Anything is possible. It's the NBA. Anything is possible. We could see Towns could go up and hit 40, go for 40. It could happen. Mitch could get 6 blocks, in 15 minutes of play. Deuce could break out of his scoring funk and give us 20, 25 points. Mikal Bridges, he could suddenly reappear. The Mikal Bridges against the Grizzlies could reappear, and he could give us 30-something points. So who knows? It's hard to predict. Now, it's the second game of a back-to-back. It's the West Coast trip, all that stuff. But I'm not going to say that they can't win tomorrow night. They can win tomorrow night, but it's going to take a tremendous effort, especially defensively, which they showed tonight that they could do it. They did it. They did it for about 3 quarters and 3 quarters. 3 quarters of 3 quarters. I mean, they almost did it. They almost pulled it off. So let's say they can. I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but it's going to take a different offensive philosophy because they don't have Brunson to bail them out. They're going to have to share the ball. They're going to have to be basically, they're going to have to commit to their cuts. They're going to have to keep their communication constant when they're out on the floor together on both ends of the court. And they're just going to have each other's backs. And they're going to have to go out there with the belief that they can do it. And they can do it. Look, I know Brunson is the MVP. He's the top 6 scoring guy in the NBA, and he's the number 1 clutch guy. I get all that. But sometimes when that happens, it gives an opportunity for others to step up, and that is what we're going to need tomorrow night. It's unfortunate that it's just back-to-back, but that's just the way it is, and that's what they're going to have to just figure it out. That's the only way I see it. And there is a chance, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think even if they can pull that game out, then they have the weekend off, Saturday and Sunday, and they're in Sacramento on Monday. Now the Kings, they were, they did go through a phase where they were hot for a little while, and then they kind of faded. Oh, not faded, but they weren't as hot. They won like 8 straight or something for a while. But I think that's kind of leveled out now. Though they're in their home arena. We've beaten them before. It's possible in that kind of a game we could see Tyler Kolek get some time. I could see Tyler Kolek getting some play time tomorrow. I hope he's on a plane or something and coming to LA. I hope immediately, right now, he's on a plane right now coming to LA. He's taking that red eye flight because we're going to need him. I don't think he was with the team. I don't think he was on the bench tonight. Oh, man. All right, let me check out what's happening here at the chat. What's up, Drew's Reviews? Thanks so much for showing up, man. Sweetie, Alex Quispe. What's up, brother? David Smith. Let me see what's going on here. Isaiah. I'm done with Mikal and Thibs, man. It's time to move on. Yeah. Honestly, it is. I'm getting close. I several times I've thought about putting out a Mikal video, but I kind of don't want to put. I don't want to put too much negativity out there about it right now, because the truth is, the guy has been a very, very, very good player for his whole career, his whole life. He's won 2 championships, so it's not like this is just a bum. No, this guy is a very, very good player, and he's a workhorse. And I know we gave up 5 first-round picks for him, and maybe could we have gotten away with just 3? It's possible, but whatever. The reality is what it is. My feeling is that he is better. He's a better player than what we are seeing. He's not consistent offensively. His defense has improved as the season has gone on, but several times he just gets burned, he gets backdoored, he doesn't fully close out, he doesn't fight over the screens enough. Now that might be, and on top of that, he doesn't put the pressure on the defense himself. Too many fadeaways, the fadeaway Jays. I mean, we talked about that already, about how when he was being guarded by Steph Curry, you think he would have just taken to the fucking hole and just dumped that fucking shit on him, but no, fadeaways, and they front rim. He needs to become more physical, especially now with Brunson out. He's going to have to. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. OG, I'm seeing him. He is getting back to his best version of himself before his injury. So that's a positive. It's a big positive. And Cat, though, is a little concerning. When he missed the Golden State game, I thought, remember we didn't know at first when they announced it. I thought, oh, well, maybe he's nursing something and he can sit out some games. Maybe he sits out that game, sits out Lakers game. Maybe he comes back for the Clippers game, gets refreshed, because man, he has not looked that good of late. He just has not. He's averaging. Here, I can show you right here, man. In the last 5 games, he's only averaging 18 points a game. OG's outscoring him. He's only averaging 18 points a game. He's shooting 45% from the field. He's down to 38% in a half, which is great for most people, but not for Towns, And but he's still getting this almost 14 rebounds, so he's still delivering on that end. But man, his just shooting efficiency is just way down, and he's only attempting 14 field goal attempts per game. A guy with his offensive weaponry should be just unloading the chamber constantly. Because when you look at what he's doing for the year, for the season, he's averaging 24 points a game. So now he's averaging more than 6 points a game less. Now, he's shooting almost 43% from the field. I mean, 53%, sorry. Almost 42% from the three-point line. So those numbers are way down. Something's up with him. Could be the hand, could be the knee. We don't know. Could be, who knows. But he needs to break out of this funk. He has to, especially now that Jalen Brunson may be gone for, I don't know. I mean, what's like a rolled ankle? What do you guys usually miss? 3 weeks? 3 weeks? Not a sprain, not a full sprain, like a mild sprain. And it could even be 2 weeks if it's a mild sprain. Let's hope it's just a mild sprain. Let's hope it's just a mild sprain. Sweetie says, George Bridges doesn't look happy to me. Yeah, well, man, I wouldn't be happy if I was playing like him. I wouldn't be happy. I don't know what he's unhappy about. He's the starting 2 guard on the 3rd place team in the East. He's got 40 wins. He got 40 wins by the time after they played their 60th game. So they've lost 2 games recently, but man, what's he unhappy about? You know what? If you play the right way, you're going to get a nice contract extension. Right now, he's sabotaging himself for a nice, sweet deal. Totally sabotaging himself. All right. I'm going to shut it down. We have a big game tomorrow. Big game against the Clippers. We want to avoid a 3-game losing streak. Again, if you're watching this later on, just drop your comments. Would appreciate that. Man, I'm bummed. The Knicks went on a 17-2 run. Take control of this game in LA. And they couldn't hold on. That is painful. Painful. All right. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Share the video if you can. That'd be great. And drop your comments if you're watching this later on. If I've overlooked something, whatever. You guys are my collaborators. I truly appreciate that. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me here in the late hours of the night. It's still Thursday here in LA, but it's early in the morning in New York in the East Coast. You guys should get some sleep, get some rest. Another big game tomorrow. There is one little bright spot, and Drew's Reviews pointed out his first comment in the chat. And that is what he wrote. Sup, George? Call me nuts, but the only bright side to this Brunson injury is that Thibs is now forced to play Kolek, whether he likes it or not. Still doesn't change the fact that he needs to be fired, he says. I look at it as, yes, he will need to play Kolek, but the bright spot is, here's the bright spot. In fact, let me pull up the, where is the, oh, sorry about that. Where is this? There we go. I don't know why that happened. Oh, well, I can't find it now. But there's a chance that the Knicks may tumble to the 5th position. Now, the downside of that is you play the Celtics early. You play the Celtics early, but you're gonna have to play the Celtics anyway. But if the Knicks end up, let's say, they're not able to get it together, and they drift down to 6th, right? So then they play whoever's in 3rd, but they lose the home court advantage. That's a big bummer. But it's basically they're playing. It's the same matchup, whatever it would have been. So it might have beat Detroit. Let's say Detroit's been hot. So the Knicks are currently in 3rd. Milwaukee and Pacers are in 4th and 5th, and the Pistons are in 6th. The Knicks have the tiebreaker though against. Sorry about that. The Knicks have the tiebreaker with Milwaukee and the Pacers, so they'd have to really, do a free fall. But the positive of this is if they can just stay in the top 6 and Brunson gets rest, he may come back. I mean, he was already playing out of this world. He might come back and now he'll be rested. That's the only bright spot I see from this. If the Knicks can just somehow figure out how to survive the last 20 games of this season without drifting into the play-in, and even if they did drift into the play-in, worst case scenario, we're talking about worst case scenarios here. They drift into the play-in, 7th or 8th seed or whatever, it's possible that they could switch brackets and end up facing the Cavs before they face the Celtics. And they'll be doing it with a rested Brunson. That's the only slight bright spot. That's it. Barely a bright spot, honestly. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Other problems there. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Thank you guys for joining me.